Okay, I'm in the reading slump to end all reading slumps for myself. I'm reading like a book a week, maybe a book and a half a week. It's not awful. But I less care about the quantity of books I'm reading, and in general, I want to be gripped by the media I am consuming. And what's cool is summer is typically like award season reading for me, and I've just got the Ignite Awards and the Ursula K. Le Guin Award in Fiction books that came out. I have some Hugo novels to finish. So I figure this is kind of a TBR slash these are the people on my docket where I'm going to be trying chapters and seeing what sticks. Because I don't think realistically I can read all the things I want to read. I don't think that's where the brain is at. So we're meeting the brain where the brain's at. And we're going to try and sample from this large stack. And see what surprises me. And see what I think's worth pushing through. Or see what's... It's like... Because like that's what's really cool about a lot of awards. Is like it puts stuff on my radar that wasn't there. And I'm not particularly being good at choosing for myself. So, but first we'll talk about like books that I'm going to be reading because of obligations. One of them's, well, two of them's kind of award reading, and one of them is just because of TBR spin. So we'll start with TBR spin. Every month we spin a wheel. I have a stack of my TBR books. This month the thing was the longest title based off number of letters, and that was I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones, which I think's gonna be great. Is Summer Ween happening? Maybe. I have never kept track. But I love a Stephen Graham Jones slasher. I think it's going to be a really fun, engaging summer read. Again, keyword engaging. That's really what I want. He has such voicey characters. And I know he wrote this before finishing The Angel of Indian Lake, one of my favorite slasher trilogies ever. So I think this came at a perfect time. I think this is going to be fantastic. So, yeah. This is on the docket. Probably, alas, the book I'm picking up next, because I have a book club for this in 2 weeks, and I'm taking forever to read things, so I should start it now, give myself the 2 weeks, and that is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. This also works because it's a Hugo book, and I wanted to try and read all the Hugo novels, and I only have 2 left. This is one of them. So this is on the docket. I think it also has some teal in it, which if you've been looking at Herkyed is helpful. So this is for sure happening this month. Like, I'm reading this. I am being part of a book club for it. It is 440-ish pages. Longest Nnedi Okorafor I've read. So I'm hoping it's engaging. I can always get the audiobook if I need some help. But we'll see. So that's for sure happening. Another one that's happening, and it's, like I say, it's slightly award reading, but not really, is Uncertain Suns and Other Stories by Thomas Ha. I'm going to be reading a story a day-ish with my friends. Yeah, and also I just got it from Hexagon Books, so I got this cute little bookmark. So, hopefully that's good and helps me get back into my short story bag, because I've been bad at that lately. So I think when they suggested it, I think Evie got in both of our messages and was like, want to read the story of this a day? And I'm like, sure, let's try it. Might I get behind? It could happen, but, you know, I did buy this book recently. It'd be nice to read it. The titular story is well, it's not a Hugo nominee, but it was a Nebula, I don't know, I think it's also an Ignite. It's also an Ignite novelette nominee. So those are the only ones that I'm, like, promising. Like, those things are being read this month. That's it. Those are the only promises. Nothing else is promised. Other things will be read, just who knows what they will be. I'm going to finish Labyrinth's Heart. I'm, like, over halfway through that. That's my audiobook until further notice. It brings me joy. It's delightful. Other things I can read. So, in terms of the Ignite Award, a book I had on my physical TBR is the Tochi Onibuchi Harmattan Season. So this would be good to read. I don't know a lot about it. In general, his prose is typically dense. So I don't foresee this winning in my whole, like, when I try a chapter, this is what engages me. I do love his thematic work, though. I do love his premises. This gives me kind of a noir vibe, like fantasy noir. It's like alternative West Africa, I believe. Like, a person gets ended up in a conspiracy who didn't mean to be. That's, like, the noir adjacence that I'm feeling. So, like, I really am curious about this. I just don't know if like my brain will have the focus required for his prose style. But I can surprise myself. And then there are a bunch of novellas that I haven't read for the Hugos, and like, I don't know if I'm really gonna read them. But there's like at least one other one that I'd like to read before voting, because I own it, and that is Automatic Noodle by Annalee Newitz. And, you know, it might work for me, it might not work for me. A lot of mixed reviews in the world about this cozy sci-fi. Unclear. It's not that long, so it could be a good, like, palate cleanser. I do love noodles, like, immensely. Like, immensely. So, the rest of the books that are kind of on my TBR are from the Ursula K. Le Guin Award in Fiction. And, you know, in a perfect world, I'd get my act together, read the starts of all of them, have a reaction video. That could still happen. More than likely, what's going to end up happening is every week, maybe I try and check in on my Friday reads. That seems to be more where I'm at. But I got a bunch of them from the library. 2 of them I have electronically, so we'll do those 2 first. Sunward. Sunward, I believe, has to do with this person who travels between planets and with these little bots that he takes care of and adopts, maybe. When I was putting my sci-fi books I missed in 2025 list, this one came up a lot. It was also on the Locust list. So it being on the Ursula K. Le Guin and with the recommendation in my Discord, I'm very curious about it. And then there's another one called Call and Response, which is a short story collection. A lot of times with this Ursula K. Le Guin Award in Fiction, you get a lot of short story collections or short story formatted novels, because they try to pick from a lot of what Ursula K. Le Guin played with, which wasn't just novels, it was kids' works and also short works and things like that. I don't know specifically the project of Call and Response. It is available on Hoopla, so that's how I'm getting it electronically while I wait for the physical book to come into my library. Speaking of more of the short stories, we've got 4 novelettes, I want to say, maybe short stories, in this one called One Message Remains, Premi Mohammed. They love Premi Mohammed for this award. One day, she's gonna win it. I don't know if it's this year, I haven't read it. One of these has been published before called The General's Turn. I don't think I've read that one. And then there's like 3 others. I think they're just 4 stories. I don't think they're connected at all. Yeah, one story's 100 pages, another's like 40, another's 30, and then the last one. Okay, so it's like the first one is kind of novelette, and the rest are short stories. I love her stories when I love them, and I'm very disengaged when I don't love them. So I don't necessarily think this one might be a winner either. Like, similar with Tochi Onibuchi, I just need a certain level of focus that I don't predict is in the cards for me. This one I am very interested in, though, and that is a novel and ghost stories called Midnight Timetable. This is a Korean work that was translated, and I love an idea of a novel framed around all these little ghost stories, and I think this workplace, let's see, when the Institute's newest employee arrives for their first night shift, they begin to see why some workers don't last long in the job. Things and people seem to change in these dimly lit halls when those who open the wrong door might find it's disappeared behind them, or that the echoing footsteps they're running from are their own. Like, it just seems like a weird liminal space workplace environment ghost story thing, which is definitely something I've read adjacently before, but it's like, it's short. And like, if it's written in a way that my brain likes, it's going to be a fun one. So this is like 190 pages. I am really curious about this one. Like, if I'm kind of making 2 piles, I'm putting this one in the more like, if I have time, we should try and pick that one up sooner rather than later pile. This one is really interesting. So, there's a book called Audition that everyone's been talking about. This is not that Audition. This is the Audition. This is a different book than the one people in literary fiction spaces have been talking about. This is definitely thematically heavy sci-fi. Don't know how the writing's going to be, but the actual themes of this, I think, are very much on display. And it's from an author from New Zealand, for those ever, looking to expand your global horizons in reading. So this is a spaceship called Audition, and there are these giants in a large room. If they talk, the spaceship keeps moving, and if they are silent, they keep growing. And presumably, if they keep growing in this room that doesn't change shapes, things are going to happen that are bad. And so apparently they're talking about their former selves, imprisonments, violence, disempowerment, and it's supposed to, represent like our current justice systems and how governments are very static and frozen and what that does and who's allowed to take up space and what are the consequences of that. I'm interested, but I have no idea how this is going to work for me. Also, I just saw that Midnight Table has a horror boop on the side, so I bet it's more like literary horror. But this one, very interested in as well. I have no idea how it's going to work. So that's more middle of the road. And then I do have a book on my actual physical TBR for the Ursula K. Le Guin called The Works of Vermin. This is the author who wrote Leech. The blurb is, he was sent to kill a pest. Instead, he found a monster. I don't know a lot about it. It's a metropolis story. It's a chaotic city. There's an exterminator. I don't know. There's a bug on the cover. I am very curious about it, but I've seen rough reviews, and although I really enjoyed Leech, I had a couple momentum issues with it, and I'm in a momentum drought at the moment for my brain. So again, I think this could work for me, but I don't know if necessarily I'm in the moment to meet it where it is, so I'm going to try it to see if I'm wrong, but I suspect it's going to be in my pile of I don't know if this will actually work for me. And now we've got two more. One that, I've seen the cover around. I haven't really looked into it. It's definitely one of the longer ones on my list. I believe this is an author from India. And, it looks like it could be really engaging in a folk tale kind of way. And I do love the cover. This is Mad Sisters of Essie. Who doesn't love a whale on the cover? It says, ask for the story of the Mad Sisters of Essie and you'll get 1,000 contradictory folk tales. Superstitious sailors, curious children, and obsessed academics have argued over the particulars for generations. They have wondered about the Mad Sisters' two greatest marvels, the museum of collective memory that sprawls underneath our universe, waiting for any who call for it, and the living, impossible Whale of Babel. So yeah, I don't know what this is bringing to the table, but I have seen the cover. And I have been curious about it. So that is also, it's kind of here with Audition. That's I have no idea. And then one that I'm really excited to get to is Notes from a Regicide. This has been another sci-fi book from 2025 people have been telling me about, specifically Die in my Discord. Historical sci-fi with a trans main character. That's all I know about it. And the fact that a lot of people who've read it, it was their favorite book of last year. It's definitely a Tor book that they really didn't market that strongly. But yeah, so that's also going tentatively on the table. Of the Ursula K. Guin books, the three that I'm most excited to try, Sunward, Midnight Timetable, and Notes from a Regicide. I want to try all of them. And then the two that are my wild cards, Audition and Mad Sisters of Essie. And that's currently the plan. I'm sure I'll sneak in a romance book if I'm feeling it. And I have no idea what's going to happen. Stay tuned. Updates will come every Friday. But yeah, at least I am curious and excited. I'm just hoping that within these pages, my brain is going to gel with things. I really just need to find the entertainment that my brain's going to gel with. So we're going to work on it. And there's a wide range of things here, so hopefully something sticks. What are you going to focus on this July? Which of these books are you most excited to hear my thoughts on? Which ones do you have thoughts on? And if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, let us leave a sheep, because who knows why there's a sheep here. I have no idea, but there's a sheep on this cover. And otherwise, if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.